Hello right bags, it's Jade. Welcome to a special Conan Exiles update video. Guys, the update has hit today. You would have noticed you've got an update. I'm going to talk you all through everything to do with that. Also, I have a bit of a moan and complain about gods and avatars or bubbles not currently still working. It's been like nearly 3 weeks and they still haven't managed to fix it. So we're going to go through that as well and take a quick look at their E3 stuff. What Funcom, the publishers, the developers of Conan Exiles, revealed at E3, which kind of was a big, massive letdown to me. Absolutely zero Conan Exiles content. The closest thing we got to Conan content was this, a April Fool's joke that is actually a real game. So all that's come, let's crack on with the Conan Exiles news. So don't forget to like, guys, it really helps me out, and if you want to see more Conan Exiles content, absolutely tell me in the comments section down below. I have loosened up a little bit on the guides tutorials, mainly because I feel like there's so many good creators out there doing them. And the game is pretty old at this point, regardless whether you play it on a PlayStation or an Xbox. The guides that are out there are pretty succinct. But I would say if you're a YouTuber and you're doing PS4 Conan Exiles, keep working on them guides. There's definitely a market on that particular system. I don't see enough people doing guides just for the PlayStation 4. Because to be honest, a lot of the PC guides, they can be a little bit out of date and sometimes they're not necessarily thinking about the console players. Anywho, this update went live on PC a week ago, I do believe, and it's basically a hotfix, but this hotfix is huge for certain systems. In fact, even for the PlayStation 4, it's pretty hefty. Xbox update, this one, is around 60 GB. You're basically going to have to reinstall the whole Conan Exiles game. We're releasing a hotfix with a couple bug fixes, tackling music and some fishy buffs. It also contains a fix to an exploit that would allow allocating more attributes than intended. For this reason, all character attributes will be reset once the patch hits live. Thanks again for your feedback and for helping us improve the game. If you don't know what the attribute glitch was, there's plenty of videos going around. I'm not going to highlight any of them, mainly because they're old now, but it was basically allowing people to have maxed out characters. It required you basically waiting for server restarts, and there was a way that you could just literally keep pumping points into your attributes. So really important it's fixed. Well done, Funcom. Yay, you fixed a problem in the game. That's their jobs. The fact it's taken over a month to actually fix this or get on top of it is pretty surprising as well. I'm pretty sure the glitch has actually been running for longer than that. Background music in the game should now be played correctly. Your new fish recipes from the Dagon dungeon now work correctly and will not needlessly reduce your health. Additional performance changes that could improve how assets load in on the PS4 Pro consoles. So they've got that fix in place. After the attribute allocations fix is live, you need to tab over to both the attribute and feats menus. Otherwise your attributes will reset every time your character dies. So they still haven't actually fixed it properly, like the game mechanism is still slightly broke. And I'm just a bit pissed off. This isn't good enough alongside the fact they still haven't fixed the avatars or the bubbles. So I'm not exactly 100% sure how big it is on PS4, but some of my guys in my Discord on my PS4 server, they've been saying it's pretty hefty. The Xbox version is 60 GB. You've got to re-download the whole frigging game. Now they've done this a couple times and I really question why they can't find an easier way to do it. It says they needed to do it because they update the base version game that you download from the Microsoft Store. We know this is inconvenient for several of you, but subsequent patches will be significantly smaller in size. Yet this is maybe the 3rd or 4th time this has happened. Not necessarily as recently, but definitely last year I remember a bunch of times Conan Exiles had to be re-downloaded completely. So you can tell I'm a little bit grumpy. I think it's great that the developers are getting on top of these problems, and obviously this affects gameplay massively, and people glitching and using these cheats in PvP is absolutely bullshit. I have covered this again in the past as well, and I'm basically saying this once more. They've still got so many problems and issues with the game. There's just so many bugs and issues that they're not getting the grips with, or it just seems to be taking so much slow progress. Hence why every time we get DLC from now on, I'm really going to be questioning exactly what effort has been put into DLC versus what effort's been put into making the game run better. Apparently DLC doesn't cost too much development time. But of course we know that's not necessarily true, since a lot of these problems that happened with the latest attribute glitches as well as some of the other stuff all became apparent after the underwater dungeon. Once that was added, once we had that big update, that's when we started seeing more and more issues. So sure, it may not take too long to actually implement the DLC or whatever it is they're working on because it's just mostly cosmetics. It definitely still has an impact because it is breaking stuff. And this happened the last time we had DLC as well, so it's not like I'm just moaning and complaining over one tiny thing. But the biggest one of all, of course, is the fact that avatars and the bubbles are still not working. May 23rd was when they disabled the avatars and the shields from all official servers. This was affecting private servers too. I'm running a PvP open server on PlayStation 4. You can join by joining Discord, go into the Conan entrance and type in the word crumb. You'll then be given access to the special channel that has the password and everything else you need inside. But anyway, this is like 3 weeks ago now, and there is absolutely nothing about it actually being fixed yet. Bearing in mind this problem was around for around 2 weeks once they actually realised there was an issue with it. So that's 5 weeks we've not had the endgame content. You've not been able to use God's avatars and you've not been able to use the bubbles. This is a pretty big deal. This isn't a case of just one weapon glitching out or one stat not necessarily working correctly. This is one of the major ways that you raid people in PvP, which of course Conan Exiles is all about being a PvP game. Yet they have done absolute fuck all to let people know what's going on. As I said, unless I've not seen it, and please correct me if you see it and I have not, I can't find anything about the actual God Bubbles. Maybe it ended up being a great thing that they didn't try pushing any DLC about at E3 since their game is currently pretty broke. So let me know what you think. Is it being a bit ridiculous? Is it only one aspect you guys aren't that bothered about? You're just using plenty of explosives? But for me personally, we need to start getting answers. I've asked a couple times on social media tweets they've done, and in that time they've done everything under the sun, promoting servers, promoting artwork, builds, all the stuff a community team should be doing for sure. But absolutely, community teams should be communicating what's going on with the actual fucking game. Even if there's nothing to say, even just a little heads up motion saying, look, we're working on it. And that's the problem, they just haven't done that at all. What they have done, of course, though, is promoted their Conan Chop Chop game, as well as Conan Unconquered at E3, but no Conan Exiles content. And like I said, maybe it's a good thing, maybe they realise that it might get a bit of a negative reception since some of the game is quite broke at the moment. But I don't think so. What it shows to me is they have got no real concrete plans in place enough yet. We know we're getting more DLC for sure, Riders of Hyboria, we're also getting more dungeons. All of that has been said by the developers in live streams. But we haven't been given any dates or times, and I was really disappointed not to see more Conan Exiles news come out at E3. Regardless of how they feel or what they reason why, not having even a DLC trailer or sneak peek, it just seemed like a little bit off. Conan Exiles is the game that made them the most money. It's the game that's propelled their company from nearly ruining themselves to something that's actually productive. But no love for Conan Exiles. Now this is just a smaller thing. And mainly it's just because I like covering news and it would have been great news to reveal to you guys some Conan Exiles content incoming. Instead we got Conan Chop Chop. It's going to be a roguelike, so when you die you have to restart all over again. It's going to be 4-player co-op. You can play as Conan, Pallantides, Valeria or Belly, and you'll pretty much go through a procedurally generated world of Hyboria. You can see there's going to be all the sort of usual creatures you're used to seeing. You'll unlock new weapons for future runs as you go. Weapons can range from a broom to a bastard sword, said the publisher. There's going to be moves and combos to learn, NPCs with quests, boss fights on the way to the final boss, the evil wizard of Thoth Amon. It's coming out on PC and consoles on September the 3rd. Hey, if you really love Conan, it's more content. I know it's very different from what you guys are playing right now on Conan Exiles, and I've got no real problem with them branching out. I actually quite enjoy games like these, but I still just think it was a bit off that they didn't show any Conan Exiles content. Conan is one of them games that once the content dries out for me, I get really bored quickly. I don't really necessarily want to just keep grinding the same bosses over and over again. The last update helped with that massively, adding more bosses or better loot. And changing the cities around is fantastic stuff. Freshening the game up is definitely a way to keep people invested longer. But after a little while, once you've got your tier 4 thralls from a few purges, or you've been lucky enough to get some decent named ones elsewhere, I do struggle to keep Conan Exiles under my attention. That's why new content is good for me. I like doing maps and challenges for the first time, recording it for you guys, making guides. So, don't worry, you are going to keep getting Conan Exiles content from me, but there may be times where I'm just not uploading every single day or even every other day. I have to say, I've been looking around at the mods, which I kind of hate because I love playing on console. I'm not really a PC gamer. But for sure, there are definitely a few mods like the Age of Calamitous mod I'm tempted to play because it's got some more gear in it. Although Conan does do a pretty good job of having lots of cosmetics and buildables and stuff like that. But I do fancy playing something a little bit more fresh, a little bit more unique. Let me know what you're feeling about Conan Exiles. Are you still as excited as you was when it was made free to play on the PlayStation 4? If you're watching this on the Xbox, and you've seen the empty servers on that platform, what do you feel Conan Exiles needs to regain players? Because it's only PlayStation 4 and maybe a little bit on PC where there are so many players. Xbox is pretty dead. Hopefully I'll be back the minute we get news about the God Bubbles being reactivated. I'll let you know. And if we do get some news about new content coming for Conan Exiles, I imagine it will be Gamescom in July that will get the next batch of information about the next DLC. Until then, Ratbags, I'll see you later.